Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon and assalamu alaikum everyone. So in yesterday's session we tried to cover our whole list and we ran short of the time. We extended our session and then we decided that a few of the topics we will cover in the session number 2 or the day 2 of our grand revision session. So here we are. We have the IT risk and control thing, which is which was pending. Although we have covered it in detail in other topics when we were talking about the big data and the data analytics thing, but we will still go through it in a very quick way. Then we have the board of directors, its their composition and their committee, and the importance of the non-executive directors. Obviously the company was listed 3 years ago. Then that industry is dynamic, it has a very challenging environment, so the role of the directors, the experience of the directors, and the role of the non-executive director, it is very vital in the success of the company. So then we have the corporate social responsibility, sustainability, and the integrated reporting thing. Obviously we have covered these two things throughout in our session in different topics, that how the CSR element or the CSR aspect could be used into the answer of different areas as well. And even if the separate or the individual question on the CSR comes, how we are going to link it with our values, how we are going to link it with the environmental aspect, how we are going to link it with the ethical and the corporate social responsibility thing. Then we have the sustainability thing. We all know that how the company is working with its logistic suppliers, working with the farmers who are using the organic waste to produce the ingredients or the produces, right, in a sustainable manner. So these are the things which we are doing to make the environment sustainable, and this is what we are going to mention in our exam or the answer when it is tested. Then we have the integrated reporting. We have 6 capitals. Obviously we will discuss these 6 capitals, and I will explain you that if the question related to the integrated reporting comes into the exam, how you are going to address this question. Then we have a very important thing, the risk register, the TARA framework, and the impact of the risk and mitigation action. So for this we are going to see some risks which are given in the pre-scene and do the analysis over them, so that we have a good understanding of the risk of the entity or the industry. And if it is asked to analyze these risks in the exam, you would be in a good position. And even if you are required to identify the new risk, then you would have a good understanding that how the risk could be identified, the some sort of similar risk, how you're going to evaluate the impacts of the risk, and then how you're going to recommend the mitigating action for those risks. And few of the students requested me to add few more topics. So these are the Harmon's process metrics, Porter's value chain, context of the change, and the KPI. Porter's value chain, this is something which I identify in the pre-scene debrief as well, that you guys should brainstorm yourself on this industry or the company's Porter value chain, because in the pre-scene the complete value chain information is given, like from the starting, from the procurement or from the farming of the ingredients to the delivery to the customer. So the whole value chain is explained, and I am expecting the question related to it will come into the exam, right? And then we have some KPIs. We will do discussion on them so that you are in a good position to understand them, and if the question related to the performance analysis or the performance review comes into the exam, you would be in a good position to cover them, right? So now let's start it. The one by one we will cover all of these topics: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, right? So let's start it. So starting from the IT risk and controls. So to identify the IT risk, first you need to know that what are the IT related things or the technology related things which we are using in our business. So when I talk about this, it is the technology, every technology which we are using, right? So the technological breakdown or the technological failure, it's our risk. Okay. Number two, what do we have? Other, the website which we are using, the mobile app which we are using. Then we have the data centers on which our data is stored. Maybe they could be through cloud, right? So these are the things in which we are using our IT, I would say robots as well in our production line. So if any issue arises into them, they could convert into the significant risk for my business and can provide a serious harm to my business and the customers and the stakeholders. What could be the risk? So the risk could be, number one, reputational risk. Obviously, how the people would perceive that if they would come to know that your technology has failed or technology is not working properly, your website is not working properly, your mobile app is not working properly, that your data centers are not secured, they are not of the standards which should adhere to the ethical and the confidential standards of the data security and the data protection. So it will arise trust issues as well. It will attract the legal issues such as fines, penalties, also the revocation of the license. It could happen, right? And serious issues, the customer dissatisfaction. How the customer dissatisfaction could come, let me explain. The customer dissatisfaction would come in such a way that, for example, you somehow someone unauthorized, in an unauthorized manner, got the access to your website, to your mobile app, to your data center, or to your robotic systems, and made some wrong changes into the system or the programming of them. Don't you think that they would not function properly? If your robots are not working properly, the product which is going to the customers, don't you think that it would be of a low quality, or it would have a defects? The customer would not be satisfied. It will bring the customer dissatisfaction. How about if the hackers hack your website, changes the menu, changes the specification of the menu, changes the ingredients of the menu, and then when the customer orders, the customer gets something else? Don't you think that it would create the serious issues? And what if the prices changed on the website and the app, and the prices are in actual they are different, and you are charging the higher prices to the customer? Don't you think that it would create a serious issues between you and the customers, and they would be switching away from you to the competitors? The other issue could be that, what if the additional menus are added onto your website which exist in real? So don't you think that whenever the customer they are order, either they will be trying to order that menu or the dish which is currently which is continuously unavailable? Don't you think that it will create a bad reputation into the eyes of customer, that their website or their menu list, it is unnecessarily long, but the only available options are very limited, and they have just to show that they are offering a wide range of dishes, they have made a big list. In real they do not have much options. This could happen. And what if that the customer places the order is placed, but then you say to the customer that we do not have this dish? These kind of issues could happen if something wrong is done with your IT system, right? So this is the issue which you need to brainstorm and have in your mind while going into the exam. And now when I talk about the control thing, so for the control thing, we all know we have two kinds of control: the general and the application. These are the specific controls related to the specific process or the check. So the general controls, they are related, they are type of framework, they are the one who affects or who are part of all the control activities which are designed or which are implemented over the processes of the entity. For example, the commitment of the board, all right, commitment of board of directors, the risk committee, audit committee. So they are not specific to any specific control. They are working, or they are implemented. These are the controls of the check which are implemented on all of the processes of the business, right? Integration of policies and procedures throughout the organization, implementation or the integration of ethical practices, both because your these kind of things, they could happen both from internal and external issues. Maybe the unauthorized changes or the data leak or the data confidentiality issues, data theft, it could happen by from the internal people as well. So you have to make sure that you are giving your employees good training over their ethical and responsible practices, confidentiality practices. The culture of honesty, integrity should be promoted throughout the whole organization. Then when I talk about the application control are we all know that the approvals, reviews. For example, if you are making any change into your robotic system, into your data centers, into your website, mobile app, about the recipe, ingredients, price, anything, or even if you are feeding your customers confidential data to the website or your data centers, it should be only by the authorized and the specific person. No unauthorized person, unauthorized access, it should be denied. No person who has nothing to do with the data of the customers or the personal details of the customers, confidential details of the customer, should have the access to that data. Okay. No unauthorized person should make changes onto your website or data centers or robotic or the technological systems. Also, the authorized changes, who is there to see the authorized changes which are made? So there should be someone to review the authorized changes. Okay. The password protection and management strategy, it should be there. Okay. Antivirus walls, antivirus layers to protect your data from being corrupted, or in case if the attacks is done, you should have some layers which should protect you, or even alert you that someone is trying to take the unauthorized access of your data centers or your data, and you should become active and do some necessary precautionary actions. Then the other thing is that backups, contingency planning. So these are all things which you can recommend while you are talking about the IT controls and the risk. Okay. Now let's move forward and discuss about the other area, that is the board composition and its committee and importance of the NADs. We all know that when I talk about the board, we all should know that the board of directors, they are the caretaker of the business. Okay, they are the agent of the shareholders. So the board of directors should make sure that they are well diversified, they have the necessary skills, they have the necessary knowledge, they have the specialization, they have the necessary qualification or the education, and what else they yes, so the skill, knowledge, the competencies, so they should be well equipped with all the things, with all the knowledge, with all the skills and the specialization, and should be diversified as per the needs of the industry, so that they can make a good strategy, good decision making for the businesses. Not only this, if they are diversified, if they are from the different background, they have the different mindset, they would be challenging their each other ideas, ways of doing things, and in a positive way. And what it will result, it will result in identifying or innovating the new ideas, new ways of doing things, and ultimately become making the company efficient and successful, right? So these are the things which you should be keeping in your mind while you are going to evaluate the board of directors. When I talk about the board of director composition, they should be also independent. So the independency ratio in the board of directors should be like if not more than 50%, at least 50%. Why? Because the director's independency is very important, because there should be someone who is going to evaluate the performance of the company, the performance of the director, the remuneration of the directors, okay, who is going to see the business from the independent eyes, from the independent perspective. So for that we are required to appoint the non-executive directors, right? So the non-executive directors, they do all of these stuff. They bring the independence, they look at the things from the outsider perspective, they bring the fresh and the outside knowledge of the industry, which many of the directors would not have. Okay, they are independent, they do the good evaluation of the company's performance, they do the good evaluation of the strategy, they challenge the strategy or the steps taken by the executive directors, they scrutinize their performance, they also decide their remuneration, so that board of directors must have the good remuneration which motivates them to do better for the company. And also board committees. Obviously the board should make some committees or the sub teams who are dedicatedly working on the few areas. What are the committees? These are the audit committee, risk committee, we have the remuneration committee, and then we have the audit committee, risk committee, remuneration committee. What else committee we have in the pre-scene? Let us see. We have the nomination committee. Okay, so the nomination committee, all of these committees, they have the one specific thing, that is the majority of the directors, they are NEDs. Okay, but when I talk about the audit committee, they should have one person who has the financial expertise. Yes, because when you're talking about the impacts of the, like for example, the audit committee looks after the internal audit, it looks after the external audit, it looks after the management of the risk, it looks after the controls. So for the management of the risk and the related controls, the audit committee must have the person who has the financial expertise, who can evaluate the risk in terms of the financial aspects and also the cost of the control. So you should have the guy who has the knowledge of the financial things, and he can guide you over these things, right? The risk committee, it should also have someone from the financial side who can evaluate the risk basis on the financial aspect or the financial point of view. The risk committee also have the responsibility to manage one thing, that is the risk register, which we will discuss on later stage in detail, that what is the risk register, who looks after it, and what is the role of the risk register. Also it decides the strategy for the risk management. Okay, so these are the roles of the risk committee. Remuneration committee, obviously it decides the remuneration of directors, senior managers, senior, I would say, management personnels. And not only this, the share option plans or some sort of compensation which are other than the monetary compensation, there should be some non-monetary compensation as well. So this is the role of the remuneration committee to balance the compensation in terms of both monetary and the non-monetary terms, to keep the directors and the senior management satisfied to work in the best interest of the company. Then we have the nomination committee. Nomination committee nominates the like future directors, senior management personnels for the appointment of the vacancy arising on the board of directors. So all things which we just discussed over here, these are the roles and responsibilities of the nomination committee to ensure that they are keeping their close eyes onto these things, that they are complying to these things while they are appointing the new directors. So this is the whole discussion about the board committees, board of directors, non-executive directors. The one thing about the benefits or the positives of the board committees. Let me just discuss this as well, like in the meantime. We all know that when you make the subcommittees, it frees up board of directors to some extent, that not all of the directors, see for example, on board there are 10 members. Obviously all 10 members does not have the expertise in terms of the audit, in terms of the risk committee, in terms of the nomination, and so what is the point of keeping them involved into the discussion related to them, like on the ground level or in detail? Obviously the at times of decision making, every director should take part, every director has the equal responsibility to make the decisions, right, collectively. But how about if they are doing the evaluation, they are gathering the facts, they are evaluating the things, the director who is not relevant to that area, don't you think that if you would free up that director, it would be better for him to focus on the core areas of that of his or her expertise, right? So it will free up board members to focus on other areas. Okay, number two is that obviously it is not possible to always being successful to gather the whole board at the same time. Obviously the board is they are busy people and they have other commitments. Obviously the running of the business is their primary responsibilities, but apart from it, gathering them together at the same time, it's sometimes very difficult. So don't you think that the frequent meeting of the board of directors, it is good for the business? Yes, it is. So how we can do this thing, how we can come up with the solution? We can come up with the solution by making the subcommittees, and the subcommittee members can find the time and manage their time to for the specific issues which they are dealing with, and the other directors, they are not required to come. They will required to come like on quarterly basis to approve and discuss the all ideas or the strategies which are identified by each of the specific committee members. Okay, then they will do the discussion and then they will approve it. So this is the benefit of it. Also the committees, the benefit is that management of time and meeting. Not only this, when you have the committee, there are NEDs in majority of them. So when the NEDs are into the majority of each committee, that means that the viewpoint or the weightage of the NEDs discussion or the point of view is increased. So they are bringing the independent and the outside viewpoint or the perspective in each of the matter of the board of directors strategy making or the decision making. Next, what do we have? Next we have that these committees, they are specialized. Obviously when you are making the subcommittees, you go towards the even further special. The board is diversified, but now the committees, they are specialized. So the members, they are as per the needs or the requirements of the roles and responsibilities of the committee. So it gives you the edge that your committee is now working on the specialized basis, and it will be coming up with the good ideas and the good solution or the good assessment of the company's business and the environmental factors. So these are the good things or the positive things of having the board of committee. Obviously there could be many other things, but these are the main benefits of having the board subcommittees. So now moving forward, we are done with CSR. We are done with sustainability. Now we should discuss something about the integrated reporting. So we all know, when I talk about the integrated reporting says me that traditionally you look at the capital. And what do I mean by capital? We all know that the capital is the fund which we inject into the business to run the business, to start the business. Integrated reporting says that you do not have only the financial capital, there are other capitals as well which you inject into the business, which the business uses to operate, to run its business, right? So these are 6 capitals. Number 1, financial capital. Then you have the manufactured capitals. Okay, I am just writing it very roughly. Why? Because on my Google Drive, you have the folder for each of the chapter. In that chapter there is a folder, smart handouts. You can go to that folder, and then there is a separate slides for each of the topic which you can use to revise it quickly, and it is the same which is mentioned there. So financial capital, manufacturing capital, then we have the intellectual capital, we have the social capital, then we have the natural capitals, then we have the human capital. So these are the 6 capital which you use into your business, right? And traditionally what do we do for the financial capital in our financial statement? Provide the reconciliation, like at the start of the year our financial capital was like X amount. During the year we did this into our profit and loss, into our OCI, and then ultimately cash flows as well. These are the for the year movement, what happened, either they increase, they decrease, and at the end where they are, we disclose this thing. So in the same way, the integrated reporting asks you to disclose about each of them, like for example during the year how it increases, how it decreased, okay, and what are your future plans as well, because the financial reporting, the traditional financial reporting, it is based on the historical information, but the integrated reporting, it focuses on the future aspects as well, that if it increases, if it decreased, what is going to happen in the future, what are your strategies, what are your plans. And you know, the exam the examiner gives you a situation, gives you a proposal, and asks you that explain me how it is going to impact on the financial capital, so on this integrated reporting or the 6 capitals. So you have to identify the increase or decrease on each of the item and how it is going to impact the related stakeholders. So when I talk about the financial capital are the financial funds, or the availability or the ability to acquire the financial fund from the shareholders, from the banks, from the lenders, anyone. This is the financial capital. So what is your current ability, and what will happen if you would go towards this proposal? Would you be able to raise the funds or raise the capital or not, whether or not this strategy would increase the shareholder wealth or their financial capital or not, right? So this is the main thing which you are looking at. And when I talk about the manufactured capital, these are the tangible assets. These are the tangible assets, and they are not used into the production. They are used to do the production, or used to operate or do your operations. So based on the proposal, you will identify that whether or not they will increase or decrease, and ultimately how they will be, giving the benefit to the business. And if they are giving the benefit to the business, either they are giving the benefit to the employees, to your customers, to your shareholders, whoever, whatsoever, you have to just explain that by doing this strategy or by implementing this proposal, your financial capital or the manufactured capital will increase in this way, okay, and it will have an impact on these stakeholders in this way. And this would be the good drafted answer which we have done in our like our recent last mock 2, that is the Biago. Okay, so you can always refer my Biago answer in which I have given the tips as well to do the drafting of the integrated reporting related question. So the intellectual capital, it is about the intangible assets. For the manufacturing capital, it is the tangible. For the intellectual, it is intangible. But other rest of the things are same. For the social capital talks about the relations which you have with your society, with your employees, with your customers, with your regulator, with the pressure group, with the union, with your restaurants, with your supermarkets, everyone. Okay. So you have to think about it that right now, what is the state of your relations with the society, and by implementing the specific strategy, how they will be affected, whether or not they will increase or they will decrease, and if they are increasing or decreasing, what it will have the impacts on the business and ultimately our stakeholders. Okay. Then we have the natural capital. Natural capital means the resources which we take from the nature. It's water, it's minerals, it's land, air, everything, and what we are giving back to them, what we are giving back to the nature, being a corporate social responsible citizen. The company is a citizen, it's a corporate citizen. So what you are doing as being a CSR following company, towards the nature, and how your strategy is going to increase the natural capital, overall natural capital, and how it will have the impact on your stakeholders in the business. Say this company, the founders, they are very much concerned about the CSR and the sustainability practices. So if you are doing something good for the natural capital, believe me, it will have a good positive impact on the founders, your stakeholders, regulators, your customers, everyone. Okay. Then we have the human capital. Human capital means that the workforce which you have, they can be technical, non-technical, everyone. So by implementing the strategy, what will be the impact on your human capital? They include the okay, so robots, I am assuming that they are coming into the manufacturing capital and they are the humans. So whether or not they will be increasing or decreasing, and if they are decreasing, what will be the impact on the employees, how they would be affected by this, and what are your strategies to cater or handle this situation. So this is how you are going to answer your integrated reporting related question. Now let's move forward and talk about the risk register. Okay, this is the important topic. While let me first discuss the risk register, and then we will talk about the risks which are identified into the pre-scene. And what else do we have with this? This is the TARA framework, and we will cover the TARA framework while we will be analyzing the risk which are mentioned in the pre-scene, and we will see that what risk we can transfer, what risk we can accept, what risk we can reduce, and what risk we are going to avoid. So by analyzing it, indirectly we will revise the TARA framework as well, and we will see how we are going to apply it as well. So it would be a good strategy to revise it, right? So first let's discuss the risk register thing. So the risk register, we all know that we have the serial number wise the risk, okay. Then we have the impact, the probability, and then we have the risk owner who is looking at the risk. Then we have the rating. Then we have the controls which are in place for that risk. Then we have the frequency of the review. Okay, review frequency. So these are the main fields of the risk, a good risk register. Okay, so if there is a risk register given to you and you are required to evaluate that whether or not the risk register is good, if there is any deficiency into it, and you are required to do the comments on it, give the recommendation. So you will be keeping this table or this model into your mind. Now let us discuss one by one this is the risk description. We all know this is the risk which you are going to identify or which you are given in the exam. The impact thing is that if the risk materializes, if the risk becomes the reality, how it will impact you, like the impacts are high or low, and what are the impacts. Okay, then the probability, like the chances of risk of getting materialized, what are the probabilities. So this is something which you are right here, whether they are high, low, and why high or low, you have to mention it as well. Then the risk owner. The risk owner is the one who is dealing with this risk and looking after the risk, monitoring the risk, and ultimately board of directors or the risk committee, they would be asking this guy that what is the update of the risk, what is the update of the impact, what is the update of the probability, okay, and what is the current rating of the risk, whether you have rated it as the for example, I have made 3 rating. This is number 1, the high, this is some sort of average, and this is low level of risk. Okay, and how the rating is going to be determined by looking at these 2 things, impacts and the probability. If the impact and probability are both high, obviously it's a high risk for me. If the impact is high and the probability is low, I would say somehow it's an average risk. But if the both things are low, I would say it's a low rating risk, and I would be advancing my lesser funds to the controlling and the risk mitigating activities of the low rating risk, and vice versa for the high and the average rating risk. Then the controls we should control, or the strategy which we are following to mitigate the risk, what the arrangement we have done, to avoid this risk, either to transfer this risk, accept this risk, or reduce this risk. Whatever we have decided, we have to document it here. And then the review frequency, that at what frequency these risks are being reviewed for the updates, because obviously the MC, it is operating in a dynamic environment. So in a dynamic environment, the impact, probability, and the rating, it is needs to be revised or need to be monitored frequently, continuously, to see if there is any change, and we need to change our strategy accordingly, right? So this is all about the risk register and related discussion. Let us go to the pre-scene and see what risk we are given. Let me go to the index and see at which page it is given. So the risks are given in the page number 10. Let me go to the page number 10. Yes. So now we have the first risk, that is the competition. Let us first decide what we can do with this competition. The competition, as per the TARA framework, can you transfer it? No sir, you cannot transfer your competition. Can you avoid it? No, the competition cannot be avoided. It can only be avoided by going to the such market in which there are no huge number of players who are not competitive. So if you want to be in the market which is competitive, which is giving the revenues to you, you have to take the risk. Can you reduce the risk? Yes, you can reduce the competition by either eliminating your competitors, by adopting such strategy to eliminate them from the market, either by acquiring them, or also by doing the research and development, or increasing your value chain in such a way that you become extremely competitive than them, that you are not feeling that much competition from them. So yes, you can apply the reducing strategy on it. And most of the students, they do one mistake, that they think that you can only apply any single element or the single strategy from the TARA framework on one risk. No, it's wrong. That after reducing the risk, you have to accept somewhat level of the risk. So you can mention both of them together. Yes. Now when we talk about the legal and regulatory risk, can you transfer it? At somewhat level, I can, yes, transfer it through insurance, that if some legal or regulatory non-compliance is done and I am facing the fines and penalties, I can do the insurance. But can you avoid it? No, you cannot avoid it, because if you are doing business in the fresh food products which are subject to several laws and regulation, hygiene, food safety, health and safety, data protection, these are the things which are the core elements of your business operation. You cannot avoid it, but you can reduce the risk. You can reduce the risk by having a sound controls, a good quality management, a good data protection controls, a good confidentiality and the data security arrangement. You can reduce the risk, and ultimately at the end you have to accept the residual risk, and you have to, what is the thing which you can mention, it will impress the examiner, that you mention this thing, that you will reduce the risk up to your risk appetite and accept the risk which is under your risk appetite. This is going to impress the examiner. And not only this, you will say that you will see the balance between cost and benefit of this reduction of the risk and the risk appetite. Obviously your risk appetite depends on the cost which you are incurring to reduce the risk and the benefits which you are getting from reducing the risk. Okay, so this is something which you would mention, that gives examiner a very good impression that the student has the idea about the whole business, and student is thinking on about this risk while keeping the whole business into his mind. Then we have the customer attraction and retention thing. So the customer attraction and retention risk, can you transfer it? No, you cannot. Can you avoid it? No, you cannot avoid it, because the customers, they are not loyal. They lose interest very easily, so you cannot avoid it. It's in their hand, but you can reduce it. You can reduce it by, again, introducing some loyalty programs, introducing some discounts, promotions, try to give them the or lock them into the locking strategy. Okay, so these kind of things you can do. Then we have the data and information. Data and information, you are storing the personal data. Data is vulnerable to security incident, breach techniques, and unable to anticipate the ways in which the hacking or attacks could be done. Can you transfer it to someone? Yes, you can, up to some stage that you would buy insurance. And can you avoid it? If I talk about avoiding, it means that, okay, sit at home, close the business, do not store the data. This is not going to happen. So you cannot avoid it. You can reduce it, and ultimately you have to accept based on your risk appetite and the cost you are going to incur on reducing the risk. So this is how you are going to comment on the risk related question. Believe me, for me it's a bouncer thing, but how I am being able to tell you many things, because I know that conceptually I am sound. I am, whatever I am saying, it's relevant and it's justified. So it is correct, and that is what you are going to do in the exam if you are not given a lot of detail about the risk and their impact. Okay, and these are all high impact risk. Competition probability is high, everything. Obviously legal and regulatory depends that how much critical or the complex legal requirements are. If they are very much critical, if they are very much complex, the probability is high. And by looking at these things, hygiene, food safety, I feel like that the probability is very high, that because obviously when you are ordering the ingredients, then you are storing it, then you are producing it, and then you are delivering it to the customer. At any stage there could be some sort of mistake due to which the ingredients or the product could get defected, and it could cause these issues, and ultimately the legal and the regulatory compliances issues. Data information, customer retention, these are all the high rating risk. Obviously that is why they are mentioned in the pre-scene out of the whole risk report. Now let's move ahead and see what we have else. We have done this thing as well. Harmon's process metrics. So the Harmon's process metrics we have. Harmon process metrics ask you to evaluate the processes and the strategy to deal with these processes. It asks you to first see what is the complexity level of the process and the significance. Now when I talk about the significance, it means that whenever your process is directly affecting your revenues, your competitiveness, your customer satisfaction, these are your core areas. If any of the process is directly linked with these things, it is a significant process for me. So high or low. Complexity is a very simple thing, we all know. High, low. So the Harmon's process metrics ask you that identify whether the complexity, if the complexity is high and the significance is also high. See, you cannot outsource it. Even if you are outsourcing, you have to make sure that you are outsourcing it to the world level quality outsourcing or the service provider. Okay, so you have to take care. Outsource if, I'm saying if, first my priority is that I will not outsource this thing. For example, what is the high complexity, a high significant process for me? It's the storage of the ingredients, it's the processing of the meal kit box and preparing of them. I am not going to outsource it at all, and I am going to do it myself. Hire the experts to do it, the chefs and the good people, and I will incur good cost. I will purchase the bespoke software for it, because it is going to give me the competitive advantage and the increase in revenues and the customer satisfaction. This is a thing which you need to be aware of, and believe me, Harmon has not explained anything which is out of this world. These all things you know. It is just that Harmon has given you the criteria to evaluate it and you are using it. Okay, then if the process is complex, process is really complex, but the significance is low, Are you going to incur a lot of cost onto it? No, I am not going to. Since the significance is low, I can outsource it. Okay. Since the complexity is high, I will make sure that the outsourcing service provider is expert into it. Okay. Also, since the complexity is high but the significance is low, what I can see is that I can use the off the shelf software. Why off the shelf? Because significance is low, no competitive advantage. You remember in yesterday's class we discussed this thing, that if the software is going to give you the competitive advantage, bespoke. If not, then the off the shelf. Okay. Then if the complexity is low but the significance is high, again, since the significance is high, all of the things which are of the significant to me, they are the competitive advantage, they are the secret for my success. Am I going to outsource it? No, not that easily. I'm not going to do this, right? So I can again I will use the bespoke software, automate the processes. I will try to automate the process, and I will try to do the rationalization of the processes. Rationalization means the revamping from the start to the initiation. Try to change the overall process and make it efficient. Okay, rationalize the process. Okay, this I can do. If the complexity is low and the significance is low, first thing, off the shelf software, outsource it. You can give it to outsource it, and you don't even need to hire the top quality outsourcing service provider or the expert, because it's a low thing for both end. Okay, you can try to automate it, you can try to rationalize the process. So this is how easy it is, and I don't know why the people get very confused for the Harmon's process metric. It's the easiest model to handle the processes. It is just that you sometime get stuck that whether or not the significance is high or the complexity is high. So for the MC, the logistic planning, it is a complex thing. It is written in the pre-scene, and it is significant for me because it is going to give me competitive advantage. Because if I am choosing the wrong routes, it will increase the carbon dioxide emission, it will take a lot time to reach to the customer, and also it will increase my cost as well. So this comes into this area. If I talk about the procurement, again, procurement is not the complex thing, okay, but the significance is high. So I can see this area. I can go into this. And the processing, the making of the meal kit. The making of the meal kit, it is a complex thing and it is a high area thing. It will go here. It will be in this area. What could be the example of the low complexity and the low significance? Low complexity and low significance could be, the part of the production process in which the opening of the boxes and putting the meal ice box into it, and it is automated. It is used by done by the robots. Okay. Complexity is low but the significance is again the complexity is high but the significance is low. I do not recall anything related to, but if it is there, you can identify it. Okay. The quality check, obviously complexity is high and the significance is also high, it will come here. That is why we are using the human for this. And if you are going to use even the robots, you have to make sure that you are deploying the robots which are high-end technology. Okay. Now let's move ahead. Then we have the porter's value chain. Okay, the porter value chain. In porter value chain, we all know we have the inbound logistics. Okay, we have operations, we have outbound, then we have the after sales, and we have the marketing. Okay, these are the primary activities of our porter value chain. So the inbound logistic, it is dealing with taking the product from the supplier premises to our premises, and the supplier premises in our case is 20 kilometers away from our factory. So I feel like it is a huge distance. So somehow, if see, it's my judgment, there is no relevant data. It could be possible that the all others are 100 km away, then it will become close to me. But it depends. So from now on, by not having any data, it is my judgment that the 20 km is away, and I will explain it that the items which I am procuring, they are perishable, they are very sensitive. So the 20 km is a long area, based on the routes, based on the traffic condition and everything. Okay, so you can add the value by somehow sourcing the supplier which is near to you. And not if you can make a collaboration with your supplier to make a joint warehouse which is which is controlled and operated by your supplier. You will make the warehouse and the supplier will operate it. Supplier will store the inventory here, and as and when you will order it, they will be transferred from the warehouse to the your production line or the factory. This you can do to improve your porter value or the value chain. Okay, it will give you the fresher ingredients which is the demand of the customer. They value it. Then the operation you are using the robots. You could increase the use of the robots to reduce the cost, increase the efficiency, increase the accuracy of your meal kit boxes. And not only this, it includes the recipes as well. So for the recipes, you can do the collaboration with the chefs, world-class chef who can give you the recipes or the dishes which are of the world class, or like for example Thai, Chinese, Japanese, Italian, desi foods, everything. So you should have a good chefs who can give you these kind of edge. So this is based on the operation thing. That the outbound logistic thing is that when the meal kit box are prepared, they are delivered to the customer through a logistic supplier, that is the go flow. So currently I can see that we are ourselves optimizing the route planning to reduce the cost, to avoid the carbon emission, and also obviously it will deliver the food to the customer in a short period of time. So it's a good thing. And currently I do not see any improvement into the outbound thing, other than the thing that it is our sole distributor. After sales services, it includes that the return thing. And how can you improve it? For example, first try that the return situation doesn't arise, and even if it does, make sure that you provide the customer immediate return without doing any debate with them, and also give them something complimentary to somehow compensate for it. Okay, ask for the reviews. And even if how about you are giving them the recipe of the meal or recipe card, how about if you give them the contact number that you can call us if you do not find anything easy for you, if you are having some confusion, if you are having some complexity in making the recipe. This would be a good thing. Then the marketing thing, obviously marketing thing comes or it is about letting the customer know about your services. You are doing it through your website, you are doing it through app. How about if you would add or collaborate with superstores, some contract with your distributors who can promote you to the other customers as well. You can also collaborate with the restaurants to have your meal kit at their premises, and if the customer order it, they will prepare it and they will give the product to the customer. See, while discussing this, it came into my mind that how about if we do the collaboration with the restaurant. See, we were saying that the singles and the couples, their ratio was declining. What if they are preferring the dine-in or the restaurant more? How about if we do the collaboration with the restaurant and give them the meal kit boxes? They will prepare it and they will give to the singles and the couples. This is the idea you are going to generate in the exam, and I have generated this for you. So this is about the porter value chain, and I hope that I was able to explain this thing to you, and now it would be completely into your mind that how the porter value chain is applicable in this scenario, and you can do a good analysis in the exam. Now we have context of the change. It is very easy thing. I will explain it here. Whenever I say the context, it is like, for example, if I'm saying you something and you are not able to understand, you immediately ask this, sir, what is the context of your point, what is the context of your discussion. Even if you have written some point that it is the benefit, I say how it is benefit, explain the context. So this is what the context of change is, that explain from the different angles that what is the change. For example, explain the scope of the change, like it is a transformational change, it is a transitional change, it's a minor, major. Explain the scope, explain about the time it will take. Okay, explain about your capability. Do you have the necessary skill, past experience to conduct the change? Then capacity, do you have the necessary resources to carry out this change? The readiness of your whole organization, employees, your management, your board of directors, your customers, even your the logistics supplier, your suppliers, everyone, they has to be ready for this change. If it is a transformational change, if they are impacted to it, if they are not relevant to them, leave them. So their readiness. Also, power, the one who is going to conduct the change on the field, the change manager, how much power does the change manager has, how are you going to empower it, if he or she has the power or not. You have to evaluate the change under these angles, under the umbrella of these headings, and it will give you a very good answer for the context of the change. Okay, then we have the KPIs. Let's go to the pre-scene and see what KPIs we have in the pre-scene, and then we would be good with this vision session, and a lot in a good position to attempt our paper. So the KPIs, they are on the page 6. Let me go to the page 6. Yes, revenue, it's very simple. Active customer, again it's simple, and if they are increasing, it's a good sign for it. It tells us that whether we are growing or not, and it is increasing our market share, market reach, and well, what you would be comparing that active customer, you will see that how much the market has grown and how much your active customer has grown. If it is equal to it or more than this, it's a good thing. If it is growing but the market is growing at the greater rate, it's an alarming thing for you. So you have to keep your mind open. You're not just going to say, oh, my active customer number is increasing. See at the growth of the market as well. If the market is growing at the rate of 10% and you are growing at that 3%, what kind of a stupid growth it is. Okay, so you have to keep it in the mind. Then meals delivered, how many meals you have delivered. Okay, it is based on the number of service or portions you have delivered. So if you are delivering the like, you can compare this as well. For example, you have the active customer 100, but you are delivering 500 meals. That means that the customers are ordering again and again from you. So it will show you the different customer. And if like for example, the customers are 100 but the meals orders are around 120, that means that the customers are not ordering again and again from you. Order per customer, it will tell you that how many times the customer order from you. Average order value, it's again the average price. Food wastage, we all know, if we are good at this, it is part of our value chain as well. The way we are minimizing the food wastage, it is good for the society, it is good for the sustainability practices as well, and also the CSR thing which we are doing for the donation as well. The carbon emission, we all know about it. So these are very simple things, these are very easy things which if tested in the exam, believe me, you are going to score very good marks. So with this, our grand revision session ends, and from my side, the responsibility of this September 2025 attempt ended. We covered the syllabus in very detail in 30 hours, in very detail, the complete syllabus. Then we had the 9 days past paper practice drafting session, in which I checked your answers. I gave comments on them. I told you how to draft it. I taught you how to draft it, right? Then we had 2 mocks. I checked both of them, given you the feedbacks on them, marks on them. We had a pre-scene debrief, a detailed one. Then we made a summary of the pre-scene. Everything is on the Google Drive and the YouTube. And then I made a list which is there, which is important topics list which you should be looking at. And now finally we did a grand revision session, and between all these things, between all this chaos and the practice, hard works and the dedication and the effort, we were all connected to the WhatsApp, asking our issues, discussing the concept or the queries throughout. So it was the best batch. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you so much for trusting me. Thank you so much for motivating me. And I wish you all a very best of luck for your upcoming exam of SBL and even the other exam as well. So take care of yourself. I am hopeful that you would not contact me again for the SBL. You can communicate or contact me for any other thing, but not the SBL, because you will pass SBL in this attempt, and inshallah ta'ala you will not need to study this subject again for the exam perspective. So take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.